This is Swathiramya, Assistant Professor, SNS College of Engineering. In this video, we are going to discuss about the logical design of IOT. In the previous video, I were discussing about the what is logical design of IOT system. It is just an abstract representation of entities and the process. It is going to discuss about the entities and the process, which is not going to explain any lower level specification which is needed for the implementation, because this lower level specification all been discussed in the physical layer, which comes under the physical design of IOT. And it has been divided in logical design of IOT. It has been divided into three blocks. One is the functional block, communication model, and communication API. I were discussing about the functional block and what are the components dealing with the functional block, like device, communication, service, management, security, and applications. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the communication model, the next model. Here the communication model, you have four kind of models in the communication model. So I'll be start with the four kind of models will be request response model, publish subscribe model, push pull model, exclusive pair model. Okay, let me start with the first model, that is request response model. From the name it is very clear, you are going to request for something and it is going to respond for your request. This is what you can understand from the name request response model. Yeah, here you have the client, server, and the resources. Okay, the client cannot use the resources directly. The client has to request some kind of resources from the server. The server will connect to the resources and take the necessary data from the resources, and the server will again reply back to the client. So you have three things here: client, server, and resource. The client will send the request to the server. The request will be sent to the server. The server will receive. The job of server is to receive the request from the client, and it will process the request, and it can accept the request or it can reject the request. If it has been accepting the request, which means the client is going to ask some kind of resources or data to be which is available in the resource. So what it does, the server will access the resources and it will fetch the resources and it will prepare its responses according to the request from the client, and the data will be again sent back to the client as a response. This is very as simple as you can. From the diagram you can understand it very clearly. The client will request for some data to the server. The server will be connecting to the resources, and it will take the necessary data from the resources and it will reply back to the client. This is how the request response model is going to work. Request response is a communication model in which the client will request to the server and the server will respond to the request. When the server receives the request, it will decide how to respond, and if it shows the data retrieved the resources, it will go to the resource and it will retrieve the data which is needed for it. The access to the response model is stateless communication model, and each request response pair is independent of others, so that it can be working independently. Okay, this is how the request and response model works. So we are go for the next model, that is publish subscriber model. This I can discuss in the next class. So I can tell you what all the things. I'll just quickly tell you what all the things we were discussing about the logical design. So in the logical design, we will be divide the logical design into three parts, that is functional block, IOT communication model, and IOT communication API. When you go for a functional block, it will tell you what all the blocks which is related to the basic function of IOT system. So basic functions always start from the IOT device. So what all the devices here sensors, actuators, and how it is going to work. All those things will come under the device thing. Next, once the data has been collected, it has to be communicated to the other device or other database. So here next block will be the communication. Here what all the communication protocol we are going to use for IoT system. IoT system will be given, and how the communication is going to happen, because communication is a nerve system for the IoT system. Okay. So next, once the communication happens, here you are going to transfer the data. So the data is these data are very sensitive data. So you must provide the proper security mechanism for that. So you need a block for the security, and also you need this you need to manage everything by something else. So for that you need a management block. So this you are doing all these things to provide some particular service. So you have the service block. Service in the sense either to control the device, or you look the status of the device. So these kind, or you get the data from the device. So these all comes under service. Overall, at the end of the day, you have been going to communicate with the user. So you need some application interface for that. So the application block will be one of the thing here. Okay. These all things comes under IoT functional block. When you go for a IoT communication model, it has 4 model in it. In this video, we were been discussing about the client server client response model. This is very simple. You have a client server resource. Client will request for the server. Server will fetch the data from the resource and put back into the client as a response. So next class we will discuss about the publish subscriber model. Okay. See you. Bye.